Hello, everyone. I. From wherever you are joining us from, welcome to another powerful episode of Beyond Borders Voices from Around the World. Today, we are on the Entrepreneurship Edition 2.0, and I'm so glad you are here, even though I know a lot of people will join us in the conversation as we move forward. This session is packed with a lot of value. I can promise you that. A lot of insights to be about real talk about building a business, even when it seems that the horde is actually stacked against you. So, as usual, my name is Roslyn, your host on this podcast, and I believe strongly in the power of stories. Yeah, especially from high performing youths who are doing the work and making impact in their sphere of influence. And this show is where we bring them to you. So stories are powerful, and it will be up close, it will be authentic, it will be unfiltered, so you can really learn how people have walked the talk, and then how what lesson you can learn from them and from that story, and apply it onto your own too, and for sure you will see changes. So before we get started, let me know in the chat if you are here already, where you are joining us from today, and what is that one word you associate with entrepreneurship right now? To you, what does entrepreneurship means? What's that one word? Please, you can drop it in the comments. I will be able to see and acknowledge it, and um, give you a shout out as well. So amazing. I'm expecting a comment from us. I'm expecting to hear from you as well, even as we go on into this conversation. Please let's when anything hits you, when an insight gets to you, please let me know in the comments. Let's celebrate our guests, which I will introduce soon as well. So while you are here, please also go ahead, like this video, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and of course, with people that you know that are in your circle and will need this information, please share with them. They will gain a lot from this conversation, and trust me, they will thank you later. There's always that joy when someone is sharing their story, and they are able to, you are a pointer, and they're pointing to you that, okay, this person helped me. It's a kind of accomplishment. So you can do that, share with someone. Let me just give a brief context to what we'll be doing today. Our guest today is someone I deeply admire. We met, I won't tell a lot of story how we met, but we were fellows of VMGA together in 2020. And since then, she's done a lot of great things. And she's a strategist, an entrepreneur, a founder who has helped real businesses grow and secure funding. She knows what it means to start lean, start small. We've always say, oh, start small, but think big. And that's also the idea of beyond borders, that wherever you are in the world, you can actually start and then you're growing big. So she's walking that talk, and she has walked that path. So I want us to celebrate her. And without further ado, help me welcome the incredible high performer, you know, valuable Theresa Odey. And then she's the founder and partner at Mindshift Business Solutions. She she's a bomb that is coming to explode. So please let me celebrate her. Let's celebrate her in the comments, in the chats. Let's say I interesting. Before I she's here, but I see Emmanuel Akpan actually said she associates entrepreneurship with innovation and sales. Interesting. So as we dive into this conversation today, we'll see what other things we can actually associate entrepreneurship with. So, Teresa, welcome. It's such a joy to have you on Beyond Borders. How are you feeling today? Can you hear me? Hi, Teresa. Okay, interesting. I think she's having a glitch with her network, but she will join us back in a while. Yeah. So I think I deeply also yes, she's back.
So
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I was asking you, it's a joy to have you here today. How are you feeling today?
I'm excited, happy to be here. Thank you so much, Rosalind, for having me on Beyond Borders. I'm looking forward to the conversation we're going to have.
Yeah, yeah. It's such a delight to have you here, really. And before we go deep, just an icebreaker. Can you tell us a fun or surprising fact about you that most people don't know? So it's just a warm up anyway.
You know, I don't know if it's still fun because I'm currently in the journey of what's the word now? I'm transitioning. I don't like food, right? It has been a consistent pattern since I was a child. So as a child, my mom said I was using the smallest feeding bottle and I will still not finish it. And I will cry that why are they giving me food? And as an adult too, people don't like food. So I got into this year and people were complaining, you need to eat, you need to eat. So I started to say,
Yeah, yeah, you're back. It was frozen for a while. Okay. Interesting. So this is the second entrepreneurship session on this podcast, and the first one it was network that was trying to stop us, but today, no. Yeah, we are back now.
okay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you're back. Okay, so you were telling us the story of how people are encouraging you to eat now.
Yeah, so I now had to start, saying, okay, I need to move from I don't like food to saying, well, maybe I like food, but at least I'm happy to eat. So I don't know if that still works as a fun fact.
Interesting. Like I don't think I've met someone that say okay they don't really like to eat like that. Everybody likes to eat. They like food, but that's interesting. Glad to know that, and I like the fact that you are shifting that focus. Oh, I don't like it too. Okay, I'm actually happy to try explore. You see, so and I'm actually imagining now that you are in Nigeria, you are with food that you're supposed to like, eh? You are not eating. I don't know what you now do if you are traveled abroad. Maybe you are now in Italy, for instance, or France, or Japan, or China, or Asia, where the food is really different in texture, in taste with what you are used to. I wonder what you will do at that time. But no problem. When you get there, let me know whether you're able to explore. All right. So I want us to start with the journey, right? Can you take us back to the beginning? How did your entrepreneurship journey really started?
So um hmm, in 20, I think that was 2022.
Mm.
Some of my friends were like, oh, Theresa, I need help with my business. Can you help me do XYZ? Can you help me create a business plan? Can you help me do this, do that? And I just started doing it, right? And in the middle of doing all of that, I kept doing it, kept doing it. And at the point, I just figured that this can actually be a business, right? Just set it and all this. Oh, I helped this person, I helped that person. Why don't you just put it together and let it work, right? And that was how I just decided that okay, you know what? Let me go register the business. And well, I did register the business, and I'm here.
Okay. Awesome. So, if you could also take us back, what was your background, or what is your background in terms of education and experience before that time?
So I think let me now give a bit of what's it called now, a bit of my background, like how I got into um not just maybe the entrepreneurship in essence now, but what, like, my let me say my career journey has been like. So
Exactly.
first of all, I studied engineering, and it was not a case of, oh, they pushed me to study. I really wanted to, study chemical engineering. I was really, really big on chemical engineering, and I was like, oh, this is really what I want to do. And then I went into school, started to, do all of that, right?
Yeah.
And I left uni, and in the middle of NYC, I got a job offer to work with an edtech company.
Hmm.
So that was already, veering off from chemical engineering anyway, but I just decided that, what, this looks like a good opportunity. It was just like I said, an edtech company. They were doing a lot of, educational technology, coding, robotics, all of that. So I got into the company. And as I got into the company, and I was doing all of the, creating educational content, coding content, animation content, robotics content. I was doing all of that. So I was in what you call like the core tech aspect of the business. And
Hmm.
then I started to wonder why we had just one major client. Like, because we used to work with schools, right? That's in addition to do we also provide, then, sorry, I still say we because I still feel like I invested so much in the company. That's what I'm saying, we.
Of course, of course.
Company then, the company used to, so there were, schools were like the major client. Then there were individuals who maybe they wanted their kids to learn these things, so they had one classes and all. So I was like, why did we have this one big school in a particular, bouquet of package, which was like the most premium package at the time? And then we had other schools in the less premium package, the not premium package that was a bit cheap and all of that. And I was like, why? So and on my own end, I just feel like business development looks like a nice sounding thing. Let me start reading about it. So I started
Hmm.
to read about. Remember, I had engineering background. I didn't even do economics anyway. Like, not in secondary school. Not like I didn't do economics at all. So I didn't have any, inclination towards, maybe commerce or anything like that. So I now started reading business development. I was taking Coursera courses, LinkedIn learning courses. And then one day, randomly, I had asked my then CEO if he could just give me feedback. We could just have a short meeting just for him to give me feedback, on my growth, whatever, any feedback at all. And then we had that feedback, but when he turned the feedback section on me and started asking me what my plan for the future is. Instead of him to give me feedback, I was asking him what my plans were. And I told him that, I want to do an MBA. I'm a very passionate person. So I was like, oh, I want to do an MBA. I would like to do this, do that. He now said, if you want to do an MBA, then let's switch it to the business development aspect of the company, so that you don't remain, just in the tech. And then he was like, well, you have to give me proof, because if I move you, that staff member would wonder why I'm moving you. So you need to prove to me that I'm making the right decision by moving you. So
Hmm.
because he was like, we will definitely need to recruit somebody else to replace you, right? And that's more cost to the company. So we have to know that you would actually deliver. Remember that I didn't have any learning or anything. But
Hmm.
my CEO, I cannot tell my story without talking about him, because he sent me a lot of courses, financial accounting, sales, marketing, sent me a lot of courses to read up, and he was very supportive. Well, I moved. I think I did maybe like about 3 months, before the move. Then I eventually moved fully. They got somebody else. Oh, now the flip side was, I thought I was moving to a business development team. Apparently, I was the team, and the team was me. So I got, and I had to figure everything out from scratch. I had to learn everything, read, ask, what am I supposed to do? What am I not supposed to do? So it was it was a steep learning curve, for lack of a better word. And I just had to start learning. I built the team, recruited people, got people from other departments to come join me.
Wow.
Really, it was just me. And then we started to get new clients, right?
Hmm.
We started to get without that package. Oh, not without a lot of mistakes. We lost money. And just like I said, I can't tell the story without talking about the CEO, because if he didn't give me that soft landing, I mean, we actually lost money. So it's not like, because it was trial and error for me. So there were things that would do, it won't work. But I also learned, because it's very pivotal. It was the things I now learned that I now say, oh, Theresa, help me with this. Theresa, help me with that. And
Mm.
then it now started to look like, well, it looks like at a point, right? I wanted to get like a certification for that's Pan Atlantic University in ah. I hope, can you
Yes,
still hear
yes,
me?
yes.
Can you?
Yeah.
It's showing that is lost.
Yeah, I can hear
Sorry,
you.
please. Can hear me? I'm trying
Mm.
to even. I'm trying to see if I can have an additional layer of internet, because my internet is usually good. I'm so sorry. So I feel bad because my internet is genuinely good.
It happens. But I don't know why it happens only on entrepreneurship session. The last one we had, the first one, oh my God, it was something else too.
I can imagine. Anyways, as
Yeah.
was saying, right, and then I now I now start to do all of those things, through the things I learned there, start to help other people. And then, okay, I was at when I wanted to get that when I wanted to get the certification. So I was like, oh, let me get this, as an extra layer of learning, because
Mm.
this one is not, LinkedIn course or Coursera course or whatever. That's, this is like an actual in-person class. You would is a very intense. You will write a proper exam and all of that. You would even go through an interview. Then I applied, and then they rejected me because they said I don't have any business background. That why would they? And they were like, because at that time I think I had maybe 1.5 year business development experience. They were like, oh, I
Mm.
don't have sufficient. So they rejected me. And at the time, my company had even given me, I think they gave me 50, maybe 25% of the money or so. I can't even remember for the course, right? Interesting. I think I even had two sponsors, an older, person who is like a second, mom to me, had also given cash that, oh, do this, know, me and some cash. And I think my parents were the ones that gave, they didn't let me take the course. After, by the way, how did I even know there was a business development thing? It was that I had attended one random event I saw on Instagram, and I went for the event. I hope I'm not over talking.
No, no, please go ahead. Go ahead.
So I'd gone for the event, and I was like, oh my God. So what happened to me at that event? I think that was like a very pivotal moment for me, and I'm happy I remembered to share it, because some of these things I don't remember anymore. you know, that particular day, I'd gone into that event, and I was like, my goodness, this is the exact image I've had in my mind of what Nigerian businesses could become. I didn't even know there was a structured body that was doing something like that, because I was just like, I'd always felt like, as I started to read a lot, I kept feeling like it means that there's so much we can do if
Mm.
small business were empowered. There's so much,
Mm.
because I kept thinking to myself that as I was reading, I would then see, maybe case studies of other countries of how it was actually business people that were building the countries, as
Mm.
against think that, oh, it should be the government building everything. No, actually, it is that business people do what they are supposed to do. They do it so well that they now create jobs, and they now start to facilitate development. So I was like, oh, so it means that many of these problems we think we have as a country, not we think we have actually, have in Nigeria. It means that if businesses were empowered to do more, then
Mhm.
it would actually impact on some of the issues, right? I mean, yes, today is not the conversation, for government and all of that, but there's a lot of role we can play as business people. And that was, so I got there, and I was like, oh my God, people are actually thinking these things. People are even doing it. There's actually a community. So I was just buzzing, and I was the youngest person there, because I mean, people who do consulting, they probably have like 15 years banking experience. They now
Yeah.
retired consulting. So it's not the other way around, where I just left university when you now came and said that you have passion. Passion for what exactly? That day, I remember I was asking questions, because it was, one of the hotels in Lagos. So it was not too much of a large meeting. You know,
Mm.
asking questions. I was like, oh, I was, and BMJ now. That was like a year after BMJ. If you
Yeah.
spend me Abudu, there's a way you will be. Right? So I was asking questions. I was like, oh, this one, but just did all of that, and then I had met one. man who is still like a senior colleague till now, right? In fact, I think maybe
Hmm.
just a month ago, we still had a call where he was not telling me he was even going to bill me that look at how much I've grown. And I say, you cannot be billing me, we sat together in lunch. All this. Oh, when it's lunchtime, meet somebody. So we sat together, and he was asking me and he was just looking at me. He was like, "You have a lot of passion." I'm like, "Oh, really? Yes, I want to do this, I want to do that." And so that boy, we maintained contact. So that was even when I knew there was this certification, and then I tried to apply. They now rejected me. That was the first time. The second time I tried again, they gave me the same feedback. So the third time, what happened was this man now called them and said, "This girl is way passionate than many of the people you are even certifying. So why are
Ah,
you people?" That was actually what happened. Then they reached out to me and said I could come take the program. In
hmm.
fact, right, I was supposed to take a beginner's version, but they allowed me to take the associate version because he was like, check her portfolio. Like, yes, she does not have the educational background or the years of experience, but in the short time she has been doing this thing, she has some level of results that should encourage you guys to at least give her a chance. So it was that call. They now allowed me at the time. I think I'd now left the company, the edtech company at the time. So
Oh,
yeah, left. But I mean, the money was with me. They didn't collect the money back, even when those people
yeah.
rejected. Yeah. So I eventually now went, for that to do that. And that now opened me up to a lot of opportunities. In fact, till now, there are projects I'm on that came through that, that connection. Because again, as I got into that class, again, people started to notice me again. This small girl,
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
all of that. So a lot of other opportunities have come in from there. But that was really, a pivotal moment for me, just really seeing that there are people who have actually dedicated their time to empowering SMEs, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and for me, I think that was just, a very what's the word now? A very pivotal moment, layered on what I was already doing within the tech company. And then at some point, just like I said, I was still working in the tech company, running the business by the side, doing all of that. I didn't even start to, get staff and all of that. And then at the point, I started to even actively look for other jobs, but I wasn't getting, I mean, I got some offers here and there, but they just didn't quite fit. And then, one day I just figured that, you know what, I think I could just leave and focus on this. And here I am.
Oh my God. I really love this story. And before now, I put up a post on my social media actually saying that what stories can actually do. And I know that some people might be burning on the other side actually listening to us and these stories and how it aligns. And I will just point out some key things that you mentioned. One of the things is the fact that you were in a company. It wasn't your business to be looking at. You were just a social media manager at that point, really writing content and the likes. But then you were like, why are we having only one client in this range of our offer? And then you were really passionate. You went out of your way. In fact, it's not even in your field. Then you started reading about it. And that just points me to sometimes there will be some unrest or really some light bulb that will be shining and say, look at me, look at me. And if we're able to explore and we are not derailed by, oh, it's not my business, because this time, this period, it's easy for you to say, okay, this is not what they are paying me for, but see what it has opened to you. That is number one. Another thing is actually the effort you also put into it. I really commend you for that. Well done. And then connecting with people during events, and I really loved the way you did it. That networking, it's not like, oh, I'm actually going there. Okay, let me backdate. My head is actually burning with a lot of things I want to say at the same time. But then you also first seeing a post around what your passion is at this point, which you are still trying to develop, and you are like, okay, it's on Instagram. Let me go. It takes some level of dedication, intentionality to actually do that. And when you say there are some meetings that are not for you, that meeting was not, it wasn't just another meeting. It was pivotal to your growth and where you are right now. And this is how things happen. But God forbid, you could have said, oh, I don't have time, or maybe I
It was,
rest during that weekend.
was actually paid, and it was quite a lot of money at the time that, I genuinely didn't even, you know, on the surface, it looked like, you know, why would I spend this money? Because honestly, it was a gamble for me because I didn't even know if they were going to be fluke. I didn't know if they were going to be people that you will now get there. I don't know if you've gone for events like that. They will just
Yes,
nonsense. So I honestly didn't even know what to expect. I just felt like, okay, they said they are doing business development. Let me just go and check. That was honestly how. And it's not that this checking I paid to go and check.
exactly, exactly. It's not even free. And God, this is super interesting, and I like even how it is starting because recently, of course, I also now with the this podcast actually developed from serving aspiring international students as well as international students. So bringing people to actually share their story of how they went from getting full scholarship and the likes and so then I now say, okay, there's actually a need for entrepreneurship. That's why we had this part. But before, it was coming from the fact that okay, people need to see that even if you are starting from nowhere in quote, you can still get fully funded scholarship no matter what. It's just how do you do it? Then listen to stories of people that have done it, and then you can apply it. So then I now saw that okay, there's actually a gap, much more than you just first applying. Why are you going? So this gap, I now wanted to also, fill that gap and then provide solution to it. So I started with some coaching, where people will actually pay to really prepare them to know their why and be able to, because what's your why when you are starting with why, what it does for you is that you are now able to tell your story in line with okay what you have, and then you have that big picture, and it will help you a lot in even maximizing that 2 years, such that 3 months to the end of that program you are not filled with anxiety like what next, what next, what next, so it has a lot of benefit which I'll not be able to do. That's not the one. But why am I saying this is the fact that you share that oh, you even had to pay, because some people will just think that okay, everything will actually fall um on a platter of gold. I remember even for BMG, even though we didn't pay
Yeah, yeah,
the worth of that program, it was still paid. We had to, because it showed commitment. Free things sometimes, I was meditating recently. I was like, sometimes free things might do more harm than good, especially to some kind of people. Some people are self-motivated that they can go on. Why do we have, even though you see now what I'm trying to say, for you went on to take courses on Coursera. How many people have, in fact, me that I'm talking, say, how many people have courses on Coursera that are not completed? Why? Because it's free. You're not paying for it. Just imagine you went ahead to for that pan and
Atlantic
is it Atlantic or
University.
yes. So you went ahead, you paid. Will you leave it halfway? You will go. So sometimes it's just, and I think that was it. It's just to bring you into that responsibility, accountability that, okay, and commitment, really. Yeah, commitment is the word for it. So I really celebrate you for that. Sometimes some meetings are just not what you can say, okay, you are not doing in that
Yeah,
sense. And then the last one that I want to say before we go on to our question that we have lined up is actually networking. And I really resonate with that. Sometimes it's not just, oh, take my card, this one, this one. It's about real conversation, talking with real people, connecting, knowing that your values, when you started sharing and sharing, that person could see, yeah, this is someone that knows what they're, even though they don't have that clear map, but
yeah,
really, they have that thing they want to, and that is vision. That is what will drive you. And when that person saw drive, they are committed as well. So really, it's not in the number of people. Maybe when next you go to another place, you see another valuable person you are able to connect. So it's more about the connection, not just about, oh, let me have your LinkedIn, so we chat or take my card. And I think I really resonate with that, and I loved it. So thank you so much for sharing. We really appreciate you. And if you are watching and you've thought of starting something, a business, a side thing that you want to start grooming as well, drop a comment in the chat, and feel free to, if you like, you can also tell us what it is. And if you have any questions, to drop it. We might be able to take one or two before the end of the of the session. And don't forget, invite your friend. You see the kind of conversation we are having. I'm so sure you will take, even if you are working right now, you will take some insight from it. So moving forward, in your experience, what's the biggest mind shift that, and then your business is actually Mindshift Business Solution. So why that name, and what is the biggest mind shift young entrepreneurs need to make early on?
Hmm. Why the name? So I'd written a book called Mindshift, right? And I
Interesting.
yeah. So I felt like, I wanted to still build a lot of stuff around that, concept, right? So I'd written a book. I did like a one-off online course on the subject at around the time when the book also came out. So I just figured, okay, name the company Mindshift. Am I considering a change in name? Yes, I think I am, but I'm not ready for that yet. When I'm ready, I would, consider that. But yeah, that was really what happened. So it's not like I sat down and planned. Nah, it was just, I was in that season and I felt like there was a lot of what could be done within that concept, with what I had in mind. So yeah, so I just kept expanding the name and expanding expanding what could come under it. So
Yeah.
yeah, for mind shift, the first I would say is that I would just say resilience, right?
Hmm.
I think that for us young people, we sometimes underestimate the the grueling nature of building something.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it's easy to just, yeah, people say it, oh, building a business is hard, building a business in Nigeria is hard, but it doesn't it until you get into it.
Yeah.
I feel like, because I genuinely feel like I'm a very soft-hearted person. And in fact, right, as much as, interestingly, even as a very young child, university, secondary school, I'd always felt like I was going to build manufacturing companies. I don't even know how I think I'll blame it on my dad. It's like, no, it's my father. It's him, I will blame it on, because that would have made me be thinking like that. But I'd always felt like, oh, I was going to build manufacturing companies. I would just be like, that was even why I went to study chemical engineering, because I was like, why don't we have food? Why is food expensive? Imagine as far back, I was like, why is food expensive? Now food is even expensive. That time was cheap. And I'm like, why is food expensive? We have this thing. Oh, Benue has a lot of food. Why are we not processing the food? Why are we importing? Like, those were the conversations I used to have with my dad as a child, to be honest.
Wow.
I mean, again, blame it on the man because it's him that. So I was like, I studied chemical engineering so that we'll process food and food will not be wasting. That was really the thought around, even going to study chemical engineering. But I mean, I digress, right? So I feel like, even though I had all of those ideas, I'm still very soft-hearted. And I had
Hmm.
no idea how this was going to be.
Of course.
How all of this will happen. Do you get?
Yeah.
But thankful for that opportunity to have built the business development team in that company, because I
Hmm.
honestly am so certain that if I didn't have that, I could never have survived this. I would have
Yeah.
packed, cried my eyes out, called my parents and said, I'm done. I can't do anything else. Because I feel like, as much as, oh, people will tell you business is hard,
Mm-hmm.
it I didn't really understand it as much as I've done now. And the biggest mindset I've had to build is resilience. Just a few weeks ago, or maybe I think a few days ago, I was still asking myself, but you can't give up. You
Mm.
can't. What will you give up and do? So you have to make it work. So quitting is not an option. These
Mm.
things sound very motivational and nice sounding, but
Mm.
it can be a lot when you are face to face and you're like, you have to find a way out. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You either die or you live, and dying is not an option. You have to live. You have to
Mm.
figure it out. So right now I'm in the middle of, I'm not even sure how to, I think I've shared this with you. There's a pivot I'm trying to pursue, and honestly I am still trying to fit the pieces together, but I'm like, you cannot stay here and you
Mm-hmm.
cannot die, so you have to move. And it is that resilience, right? And I feel like that's a muscle we have to build, because you know mental health issues, and
Yeah.
honestly, not discussing it. So, and
Mm.
because I get it. I think just like maybe 1 or 2 months ago, right? I was crying so badly that because I had lost a lot of things. So many things had everything that could possibly go bad was going bad. And I was crying on the phone with my friend, and I'm a Christian. And my friend was now saying, remember Job. I'm like, are you okay? What's my business with Job? Am I Job? Is Job me? Why are you telling me to remember Job? Please leave me, leave Job. Just leave me.
Wow.
Because but
Mm.
I'm like, we cannot give up. We have to
Yeah.
continue. You can't
Mm.
say that. And now, right, I have staff. I have 5 staff, right? I'm not going to come there and tell them that, oh, something bad happened. So
Mhm.
I will still pay their salaries. We just
Yeah.
pay again, Abby. And I'm
Mhm.
thankful to God. I've not owed in almost 3 years. And I'm very thankful to God. But it's not like is like many times your staff don't even know that you have not gotten paid. Paid what? Paid how? How will you be paid? Or is it the times when you are actually taking from the money you probably made somewhere else to now come
Mhm.
and salaries, and then the things you would have thought you would do with the money you are now stuck. So there's just a lot. I know I've overflogged the point, but resilience is one. The
Yeah.
next thing I would say is get help.
Mm.
Don't pour everything out yourself.
Mm.
Sometimes what you just need is a conversation with another person. I
Mhm.
remember that one of the things that really shifted for me last year was when I intentionally started to talk to people doing similar businesses,
Mhm.
especially who were my brackets. It
Mm.
changed the game for me. Apparently, I now realized that the problems I was facing was not peculiar to me.
Yeah.
Some
Yes.
read somebody that is far off, he still looks a bit, he doesn't really connect. And then I meet, I and that, you see that thing you said about networking, as we were saying, that I was laughing. I had to be making mental note that I need to go back to being intentional about networking, about attending events. Because honestly, because of how, intense this whole phase of having to build has been, I don't have the luxury of going for events like I used to then.
Mm.
Nowadays, I can't see a clear ROI. I'm not leaving my house to go for any event because I'm like, I can't. I have a lot already doing. Do you understand?
Mm.
But speaking, as we're recounting to me what I said to you, I was thinking to myself that I need to go back to being intentional about networking at that
Yeah.
level.
Mm.
Because I remember last year, I joined a particular community, and then I went for one random event at a pizza store. It was not event. It was just, and I was like, oh my God, you people are going through this too. Apparently, all of you, in fact, some of you have even gone to the hospital and come out. You people are also going through the emotional toll, because I was like, because I run a service business, right? I felt like
Mm.
if it's products, you will say the product and move on. But you see the service business where you are speaking to clients week in, week out. Ah, sometimes you would actually be looking at yourself and be wondering, do you even know what you're doing? Are you sure this your life? It makes sense at all? Like, I
Mhm.
don't, because I think that you don't know what you're doing. And I think they just confirm to you that you don't know what you're doing in your life. Do you understand? And I was like, oh, you guys go through these things too. I'm like, oh wow, you people actually have days where you have a complete meltdown and you're like, you can't even think, you don't even know what to do. Apparently, people were sharing experiences that were tougher than what I was going through.
Mm.
And oh wow. So I had to keep those relationships. So when things start to get too tough, I call again. I beg, oh, what's going on? Oh, I need help. Oh, just do you, even if you don't know what I'm supposed to do, just let me know that we've been there, done that. And I still
Exactly.
for those videos. So get help. Don't think you have to do everything. As I started speaking again, I remember that just a few weeks ago, I was sharing some of these things, the pivot I'm trying to work on with my pastor. And who has hacked this thing?
Mm.
Why have you not reached out to the person? Do you understand? It was
Yeah.
like, reach out now. The worst is the person will not answer. Please, how do
Exactly.
you XYZ, XY? The worst is the person will not answer. So, like, I'm just like, so instead of trying to figure everything out by myself, why don't I start asking people, you know? Yeah. So I think honestly, those two are, if you keep those two, because my then boss used to say something that copy. Nobody's
Mm.
going to copying. You see that thought that you have to create everything from start by yourself. I think is also part of our problems, because
Mm.
we want to innovate, we want to be innovative. So we think that every single thing you can actually copy and improve what you have copied.
Yes.
It's what it is. You don't have to
Yes.
have a completely unique model. Yeah,
Mm.
you should seek to do that, but it's not, you can Copy what somebody else has done that is working. Don't enjoy yourself. Say you are taking from another realm. There's no it. Anyway, let me just stop. I think I'm going to
I love the passion behind that and how you able to really, pass it across. You don't have to be an island.
let me interrupt you. These things I'm saying, I have made the mistakes. So because I wanted to, I just remembered I wanted to say that, as you're introducing me, nobody should now look at me and think I just told you, like maybe 1 month ago, I was crying, thinking that everything is over. So I just want you to know that these things I'm telling you, it's not because I'm also like, don't enjoy yourself, don't kill yourself. Ask somebody who can help you. This thing, how did you do it? What can I learn? In some cases, you cannot apply everything. Let me share this last example. I think it was in maybe May or June. I can't remember. I had to drag one of my friends who runs a bigger version of my company to launch. I was like, see, just come out, please. And I was now ranting to him. He was now looking at me. He now said, it's money you need. I said, are you serious? He said, all this problem here says money you need. Oh yeah, let's craft how you can make more money. Because if you have more money, it was like, you don't have problem. You just need more capital. And it just redefined everything in my head. At the point, I thought too many things were in chaos. I didn't know what to do. He said, no, it's not that you actually don't know what to do. You don't have the money to put in some of the things you need to put in that will make your life easy. So you are just in a rut. I was like,
Mm.
money I need though. I never thought it's money. It's money. You see, because again,
Mhm.
you said something about lean. So I'm team lean. I'm somebody that if you come and meet me with a business idea and the first thing you're asking me for is funding, I will be suspecting you because I'm like, as much as I know capital is key, because again, I provide consulting and I'm like, see, many times the things we can do a cheaper version of it first and run it. In, don't go and collect people's money when you don't even know what you're doing yet. That's why you see
Yes.
this craze in tech. Let me keep quiet.
Yes,
Please.
so as in, it will be. I was talking with someone yesterday, just yesterday. Yeah, okay, yeah, with my friend, we had a talk yesterday, and then I was saying the same thing, the same exact thing that you just finished talking now. So it is what it is. I love what Emmanuel said. He said we can stand on the shoulder of those that have gone ahead of us. They are giants. Stand on them, you will see far. You will be able to put in a lot of puzzle that you are not even seeing together. And then he also said your problem might not be peculiar to you. It is not even peculiar to you. There's nothing new under the sun. Someone has worked it. Talk to someone. See, and another thing I wanted to bring out from it is, which you have awesomely said, is the fact that you shouldn't be island of wisdom. Oh, I want to stand. And I think this thing might also stem from being selfish, really. The fact that when you are telling your story now, the way you are telling it, maybe someone invites you or you stand on a podium, they want to give you an award, you're like, I'm a self-built somebody. Nobody is a self-built anyone. At that point, you are just telling us that you are really selfish. You don't want to appreciate people that are around you. And so whether you will do, and we know where you are lying also, because nobody, you are not acting on your own. People that are paying you, they are also actually believing in what you carry, in your dream, in your vision, or whatever you are selling. They are also to be thanked. So far you are an human being. We are emotional beings that really strive on community, on connections. And I think also the period we had now, tech really separating ourselves, social media, whatever we have to do is just our computer, and then we can stay in a location 1 month without going out. So far, you go to the supermarket to get what you will eat, and then you are back. You can really okay, you can chat on the phone and you're like, okay, talk with somebody. But real connection, you still have to bring it. And I love the fact that, okay, you said you drag someone to lunch. Those are connections, those are where solutions often lies, right? And sometimes again, to bring it, you might even have to pay for this kind of services. Some people might have built it in a structure where it
Yeah,
is easy to
yeah.
access. Yeah, some people, it might be okay, it's just conversational, they've done it and they are in their legacy period, and there's no structure around it. You access it for free. And as you said, that's one of the advice I always give to people on scholarship. Go on LinkedIn. There are a lot of people willing to help you, to answer questions, to share their mistakes, so you can learn from them. And in the word of Emmanuel, stand on their shoulders too, because they've gone ahead of you, really. So you don't have to. You don't have to. So thank you so much, for sharing that dimension. I love it. So resilience, we have to start building it, and we should know count our costs before we go into it. This thing, as they said, might not be easy, but in sometimes, okay, we've prepared, but still know that it will cost us something, and we should be able to give it, so we don't chicken out. And also, when you have your clear vision in place, I think sometimes it also helps. Of course, you have more experience in this life, but sometimes it also helps to push you forward in such a time, because you know where you are going in that sense. So let's come to some technicalities now. What does it, in your own opinion, what does it really take to start a business in Nigeria or Africa with limited access to capital? Of course, you said, or networks. While starting lean, like you said, small, but with that mindset of really going global or acting beyond borders, or playing beyond borders.
Um, that's a very good question. I think I'll just highlight two things, right? The first is study the space you are going
Mm,
into. And I know this is very cliche, right? But I genuinely feel like sometimes your best ideas come when you integrate information
mm,
in a very organized format. Don't I would not advise that you maybe just go on Instagram and you're scrolling. No. I'm going to say pick 4 companies that do something similar and just study them. Do you understand? Don't be checking every random. Maybe you want to start a travel agency. Don't be checking every random travel agency. Pick 4
mm,
and just read much what they do. Read about it. If you are lucky enough to find that has reports of the travel industry in Nigeria, read it.
mm,
What happens is that whole process, it is not even the information I'm after when I say this. It is the fact that it opens your mind to be able to, you know, now get intuition on what you should do. I think with it, right? Because what I have seen is the first time I wrote a book, do you know how I was reading? I was reading and I was like, write a book. I was like, I don't think I can write a book. Oh. The next time I was back reading the book, I was like, you can actually write a book. And I was like, oh, this will be the title of the book. You've been reading so many books. You can write on this subject, share your own personal experience. I was like, oh, okay. And then I started writing. I feel like a lot of things that have happened for me, it is that I put myself in a space that forced me to now start to say, I can do this. I can do this. I mean, before we got on this conversation, we're talking about, a coaching community. I know what that you see, the reason why I asked my boss for feedback and asked him to, book a session is because that particular question had said, how will you be in a job and you've never asked your manager for feedback? That was where I learned that from. And I realized that, oh, you should ask people for feedback, especially people who oversee you. That's where I learned it from. So when you start to put yourself in a space that allows you space, it now allows you, create ideas. Now, because we are in a very information crazy,
yeah.
space, you have to be
Yes.
careful. Because if you over consume, you will not be able to create.
Yes.
Now, the second leg to my study the space is take action.
Yes.
See, the best entrepreneurs that you look up to, I'm certain that if you ask them as at this second, they don't have everything figured out. Like, I mean, think about, I'm not going to give you names, think about the best names. I'm sure that if you ask them as at now, they don't have everything 100% figured out. Now, the difference between them and you is they've been doing it for a long time, so they can make some
Yeah.
predictions.
Yes.
That's what makes you look at them and think they know exactly what they are doing. The difference is they've stayed the long haul. They are playing the they are in the you are outside the water and thinking that you need to know everything before you enter the water. No. So this is you get you start to study what is the best version. You know what tech people will call MVP? What is the minimum viable product? What is the smallest version of that you can
Mm,
launch? Do it.
mm.
Launch. I don't mean go outside and be making noise yet. It might not even be that. Remember what I shared, right? The reason why I went to start a business was because I was already offering the
Yes.
service and people had now
Mm.
for it. I now said, okay, it's a bit of structure around this. Do you understand? And that's really the whole idea. So you need to find ways to say what would be interact with your customers, go and serve them.
Mm.
If you products, if it's to do a few versions and
Interesting. We lost that for a second, but then, oh my God, if you are really active on this call, please let me know in the comments what are some of the things you've taken out of this conversation so far. For me, I think she's trying to expand on execution, and that is what has separated people, like doers. If you are reading recently, I think the first entrepreneurship session we had on this same podcast, the guest we had, which is a solid man too. If you haven't listened to it, please go and listen. And one of the things he shared that I can't forget is the fact that, you know, whatever you consume, you can't be, consuming, because there are a lot, tons of things online you could consume. After this, for example, after this podcast, one thing you should do, one tool you should start in putting into your arsenal is this three word: act. Like, number one, what is what are you acting on? What are you changing from everything we have said? What are you going to act upon? What are something you've learned? Then what will you change? So this is what you've been doing before. Oh, I don't even attend networking event or something in my feed, or there's a passion that I have, and then I see something around it, being maybe it's a webinar or it's an event, whether free or paid, and I don't used to take, cognizance of them before. Now I have to be strategic and intentional. So that is what we change, for example. Then the last one is teach. It might just be a friend, and then you are like, okay, I learned this thing recently, because then you are trying to immerse yourself in that learning that you just learned. You see, so please, that is another thing that you can do. We lost you for a second. Welcome back. And you know where you
okay, please let me.
okay. We lost. Welcome. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you, but I think there's a bit of lag.
But I can hear you.
Okay. I'm trying to
Interesting. Okay, so what really separates us?
see.
Okay, I
Sorry.
think she's back.
Ah, I'm so sorry. Like, I am so sorry.
It's
Hmm.
okay.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, I was just trying to. I think one of the things you talked about was, execution, which is what separates beginners from the masters. It's just how much of time they've been able to repeat this kind of thing, and then not very valid point you talked about was also the fact that don't be a consumer alone. Create, execute, do what you've learned, practice it. It might just be free of charge, like she started with, but then go ahead. And I was sharing about the first episode of entrepreneurship session that we had, where we invited one solid young man as well. And one of the things he said that helps is, whatever you are reading a book like this podcast now, you should, at the end of it, ask yourself, reflect on it. What are you acting on? Like, is a tool like ACT. What are you acting on? What are you changing? And what out of this thing can you teach to other person? So then that like I needed to, I had to adopt it at the, I listen to, even if it is 15 minutes podcast. So what am I going to act on? Because I can't just be consuming and consuming and consuming, and
Mm.
they're not really executing. That what separates people is actually the level of their execution and the rate of their execution. So really, thank you. I don't know whether you finished sharing your thoughts around execution
Yes,
and
yes, please. I'm done. I'm done actually. What you
okay.
said is a very good way to wrap that up. Thank you. I'm even writing it down. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. You're welcome. Then let's quickly move to branding strategy and structure. What are some of the most common mistake that startups make with their branding or positioning? And just to put them together, how do you help clients to figure out who they are serving and how to speak to them effectively?
Okay, thank you for that question. The first thing I would say is the primary mistake is a mismatch of who they are and what they are showcasing. And I think that it happens to the best of us, right? You know, you just feel like, oh, let's just start pushing stuff out, let's start pushing content out. And then
Mm,
you don't pause to really say, does this really reflect us, right?
mm,
As much as it is extremely critical and important to be positioned, right? I would say it's better that what you're putting out is accurate
mm,
than you are just focused on let's just be out. Do you
mm.
understand? So I would
Yeah.
say that as much as possible. And when I mean accurate, I don't mean that it is not going to remain the same forever and ever in that sense. You can actually evolve, but let there be a thread. Let people be able to draw the connecting lines between what your journey looks like. And so I would say that be authentic as much as possible and
Mm.
then grow, right?
Yeah.
Be authentic and then grow. Don't be in a hurry to put out information that does not accurately describe you.
Mm, mm, mm,
It's better you start pushing out what I understand that, oh, talk about where you are going, not just where you are. I understand that. And it's okay to do that, right? But let it not now be where you are going and where you are. It is now like night and day. Do you understand? You can still communicate where you are without
mm.
making it look like this your entirety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like sometimes there's that what's it called? There's too much pressure to want to be perceived a certain way. We
Mm,
now start to communicate in a way that is not really authentic to who we are or
mm.
how we even think about the brand we're building. So that's what I would say. Then I'm trying to remember the second question you asked me.
Yeah. How do you help clients figure
Oh,
out what they are, who they are serving, and how to speak to them effectively?
okay. So the first thing is if you don't even know who you are serving, then what are you doing? You're not serving, right? I feel like so if for example I meet somebody who runs a business or is maybe trying to start, my first question is why, right?
Mm-hmm.
How to do this. Now it is based on why that we now know who. Because your why would maybe category A, category B, category C can all use your service. But your
Mm,
why would let us know why category B are your key audience and not category A. So it would flow from your why. Now,
mm,
after defining your why, it's also important to understand that even though category A and C might not be directly speaking to your why, because you need funds, you will serve category A to Z. Yeah. And it's okay. Do you
yeah.
see? So
Yes.
you must now be able to make that balance because now you would accept category A to Z because you are trying to gather money and it's
Mm,
fine. But
mm,
you will not lose sight of okay, category C, D, and E, our primary audience. Now, when we are speaking, we will speak first to category C, D, and E. They are our
mhm,
priority. but we know that we are open to all the other categories.
Yeah.
So it is, especially because again, right? If it's an established brand, the conversation is different.
Yes.
And but right now, my focus on this conversation is not an established brand. Even me, I'm still building my brand, so I'm not even an established brand yet. Do you understand? Right? But you, as a growing brand, you need to be able to give yourself some grace and give
Mm-hmm.
yourself that leeway that
Mm.
you can evolve even in the people you're serving. You can evolve
Yes.
even in your audience, but not in a way that is now confusing. Do you
Mhm.
understand? So there's a way you carry the people, your audience on that journey that they start to now say, okay, okay, this is where the brand was, this is where the brand is. Okay, this is what the brand is gradually becoming. Do you
Mm.
understand? So,
Yeah.
and it's okay to now start to, it's okay to now start to, grow with that. Do you
Mm.
understand? To now
Mm.
start to move with that. The reason why I'm saying that is because, let me give you an example now. I started my business primarily because I wanted to support businesses, right?
Yeah.
But is that all I do now? No. In fact, right now, the bulk of my clientele are digital marketing. That was not what I
Mm.
started out. But I mean, I could do digital marketing because I was already doing it where I was. I
Yes.
was doing it in a lot of places. But I realized people will be asking now, the service people reach out to me the most for is what? Personal branding
Mm.
tools.
Wow.
People who want to be positioned on their social media platform, they don't have the time to create their content, they don't know where to start from. Those are the people that reach out to us the most these days.
Mm.
But now, that was not really where we started. Now, do I constantly have to remind myself that this is not my stopping point? Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to now get sucked here. But somewhere in my head, even for me, I keep asking myself the question of, okay, in the next 5 years, how am I going to marry all of these things? In fact, I've thought about so many ways to go about it. Do you see? So it is not a case of now, if you had met me in 2022 when the company started and you meet me now, the way I would describe the company to you will be different. In fact, till now, when I come for different meetings, I present different parts of the company.
That's wisdom.
In fact, some people who are my clients, who have been my clients for a long time, have no idea of the other things we can do. Because even when I want to upsell to them, I upsell to them things that matter to them. There are some things that does not matter to them. So let me give you a very practical example. I manage brands of some very top founders, like I mean really top founders. Now, I'm not offering those guys business development service because right now the focus of my business development service is for small businesses,
Yeah.
nano, micro. Do you understand? Now,
Yes.
that kind of founder, my job for that founder is more of PR, personal branding,
Mm-hmm.
social media management, yeah,
Yeah.
PR strategy. For that person, I am not coming as a business consultant. I'm
Mm.
coming as a PR person. I'm coming
Yeah.
as a branding person. Do you
Mm-hmm.
see? And it's
Yeah.
just now, by the time I meet somebody who has a fantastic idea, I don't know how to start, even if they might be, even if they have 15 years work experience, the conversation is different.
Different.
Because now this person, they've been working maybe 9 to 5 all their lives. Now they
Mm.
want to start a business, they are not sure what to do. I can now say, okay, do this, do that, do this, start it like this, start it like that. I can do that for that person.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody else who, you know, has just been doing this side hustle and they're not like, I want to be serious with this thing. I can help
Mm.
you. But
Yeah.
this person who is my client right now, but has a company that is probably generating 100 times my revenue. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, it does not affect each other.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And even when I'm speaking to all of you, I know what to say to you. I'm not going to come the same way. I know how to show up here. I know how to show up here. And at the time when everything might not converge, I'm sure we know when that time comes.
Of
Where
course.
I can now come to this person and say, you know what, I'm at the level where I can help you now too.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not a problem that right now I can't do that for you. Like, no pressure.
Exactly. I really love how you really demystify this in quote complex topic. And really, one of the things you said, give yourself grace. You will need it a lot. Don't be too hard and take this. One of my mantra these days is, yeah, Rose, take yourself less serious. Don't be too over yourself, really. Don't give yourself a lot of grace to grow, to experience things, and really see that, okay, we are on that path of motion. And I love one thing you said. You said for you to know who you serve, you really have to know your why. And you don't have to be say this is a do or die affair. If I'm not serving this clientele, I'm not serving at all. That you can be sent, or you want to serve ABCD, doesn't mean you can't serve A to Z, really.
Yeah.
But you have to be focused. And that one of the things I was trying to say when you shared in the beginning was the fact that if you know your why, you really have your vision in front of you, you'll be able to know that okay, we might not be there, but this is where we are going. And it will also help you in decision making, in really making sure you are clear on your path. And I think really that's what I am hoping to also do with international students and also aspiring international students as well, to really help them know this thing is actually, if you start from where you're supposed to start, it's propel you faster, in that way. Then yes, Emmanuel was trying to say to one of the points you raised. He said visibility rather without evidence. So we have to know how to talk about where you are going without removing where you are in that conversation as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. Then you helped a beauty business actually secure a couple of million, 3 million in funding. What were some key factors that really made that happen in your own opinion?
Okay, the first thing I would say is just redefining what the business could do with that money, honestly.
Mm,
That was the first thing. Because I mean, the business already had some bit of track record. And
mm,
just putting all of that together to say, okay, you've been able to do this. If you get this, this is what you can do. And it's not fluke, it's not projection. It is
mhm,
that you can plot the graph of this is what you did last month, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 1 year. Do you understand? And based off on that, if this money comes in, it would help you. Do you understand? And this is what exactly you would do. That level of details in a way that is easy for everybody that sees it to understand, right? That's the
mm,
first thing. The next thing I would say is um also the quality of the products.
mm,
And the one of the reasons why I liked that particular founder is by herself, you will see her critiquing her product and improving it.
mm,
And that was something for me that was like, you would literally hear her say things like, oh, I saw maybe I saw this product and 6 months later I saw that, this could have been this could have been that. And the very next batch of products she's creating, she's implementing all of those updates. So that's her, her commitment to improving her product would mean that we'll not have a problem of now you've collected money, created a product that is bad.
mm.
Yesterday, right, you remember Bad Blood, one of the books we
Yes,
read.
yes.
So yesterday, because I'm running an academic program at the moment, and we were reviewing the case of, Elizabeth Holmes again. And again, I was reminded of how you cannot afford, as a founder, to not constantly put yourself under the pressure of improving your product or your service.
Mm,
Right. So I feel like even with funding, that's your own responsibility as a founder.
mm. You cannot sell a lie, at least for long. I love that.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so for every founder, I think it's a very good book to actually recommend. Bad Blood, if you can get it, read it. It will expose you to something, and also knowing that actually action have consequences. So you can pile it up, but one day the truth will catch up. So I like the fact that okay, define the quality of the product and really being able to define what that money will be used for. Yeah, so that is something that we have to look for. And so let me ask this: many founders are skilled, but they struggle with structure. Um, Basically, how can someone start building systems even as a one-man business, a solopreneur in that sense? And let me add it so that we are able to conserve time. When a startup is looking to grow, what's the first thing they should look at? Is it marketing, partnership, or operations?
That's a very dicey question. Now for structure, again, right, I feel like especially when you're just starting, there's no one size fits all. There's no
Mm,
one size fits all. But that was what I would say, at least from even some of the mistakes I've made, I would say that as much as you can, prioritize customer relationship. If you don't have
mm,
any other structure, strengthen customer relationship. Yeah.
mm,
So strengthen that, right? Especially if you have to deal with customers recurring in a recurring manner, strengthen that
yeah,
because that would eventually help with a lot of other things, right? So that's then strengthen the process around how you deliver your core product or service. You see, even if other things you don't have structure around them, your core business,
yeah,
put a process. Mm. Yeah. And again, just like I said, this is also from mistakes I've made too, right? Put a core process around it. So those two, strengthen what the process around those two is. If you don't have everything else, don't worry,
yeah,
just do those two first. And then you can add your others. In terms of what should a startup focus on, I'll still say your customers. Oh. So I'm not going to say whether it's marketing or partnership operations. I'm going to say your customers.
mm,
Whatever serving your customers would demand, you will now focus on it. But
yeah,
when you think about how am I going to meet the needs of my customers, what do I
mm.
need to do that? Whatever you need, right, in order of priority is what you should focus on.
Thank you so much for that. You see, customers because you are there first before because you want to serve some kind of people. So at least start with them. And in that two cases, it's led us back to the customers. And I really love how you have put it. I think Emmanuel had asked a question: Where can we get the book Bad Blood?
I think Amazon is your best bet.
Yeah. So then,
Amazon.
okay, yeah, my next question will be how should young entrepreneurs start thinking about funding? Is it grants, bootstrapping or revenue reinvestment? I know you mentioned it um, in passing, but let me ask if you have any other ideas around that.
I think that if you are truthful to yourself, you would likely know what funding you need at every stage.
Hmm.
You will know when to bootstrap, you will know when to, reinvest, and you will know when you need external funding. I feel like it is not a one size fits all because somebody might have an idea and need funding immediately, and somebody you don't need funding. Go and execute the idea first, and then when you've gotten to a certain level, you can now get funding. And for some people, you can keep reinvesting for a while. Do you see? So I feel like you as a founder, you're the best person to know what you need at every point
Mm,
in time.
mm,
And the final thing I'll say, on that is, I spoke about getting help earlier. I would
yeah.
say, I don't want to say business mentor because we bastardized that word mentor, right? But I would say just have conversations with people who have gone ahead.
Mm,
It would it would give you a lot of clarity that you might not be able to see because you are in it. In fact,
yes.
sometimes even the people who will say try this, it might not even be because they are more experienced than you. It's just because they are outside.
Yes.
And that's why don't lock yourself in a cocoon. Don't do that to yourself. Have conversations. If you are facing a problem, talk to people.
Mm.
The ones that will happen is that you would have known the people that next time you have a problem, don't tell them because
You
you
don't
just
go
waste your
there
time.
again.
Exactly. But sometimes when you have a problem, keep talking about that problem until somebody gives you the solution. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. So, a quick reminder to everyone watching us: if you are finding this valuable, give the video a thumbs up so you can, go out to more people and make a lot of impact as well. And share the link with your friend. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss high impact conversations like this. And then, in your view, what are the biggest consequences of SMEs not tracking their finances well?
I mean, first of all, when you need funding, you know get it, you struggle, right? Because that's the first thing they would ask you for, right? And then two, you might think you are not making progress if you don't track it. Meanwhile,
Hmm.
you actually Yeah. And I feel like even that knowing that this is what we did last year, this is what we are doing now, it can encourage you to continue. So in your best interest to track it because it will even encourage you. So yeah, I think that's just what I'm saying, right? Because yeah, the final thing is also that there are times when you might need a lot of capital investment that you might not even know about. Yeah. So sometimes that whole process of tracking already prepares you for when things like that come up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow, that that was so succinct and really straight to the point. And then, what simple tools or habits can early stage entrepreneurs adopt to stay on top of their business money?
What I did was I got a friend who is an accountant to create something for me, and I just fill in data on what she created, honestly. And I think it has been working for me, right? Because I mean she's an accounting person, so she just checks it to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And also I think, because again I can't go and hire an accountant. And that's why I have friends. Right now, if
Yeah,
I need any legal advice, I don't. How am I going to pay a lawyer? We call somebody that can help me and be like, please. I mean, yes, so it's not like taking people for granted. No, that's not what I mean. And many of these people, if you ask them when I can do stuff for them, so I get it done.
yeah.
And I'm not going to come and be saying they should enhance. So yeah, so it's not that kind of way. It's not like I'm just being parasitic in that sense. But yeah, so sometimes even with finance management, if I'm not understanding something, I call my accountant friend. Even sometimes clients related, something happens, I call and say, oh, what's the procedure for doing this? How is it done? And I get the information and I just do it. So I would say that if you can get access to an expert in accounting, just speak with the person. If you're not sure of what to do, in how to even, check your books, know what is, just ask somebody who can. Because if I say go and take a course in accounting, you might be frustrated when you start. So if you can ask somebody who can say, oh, this is it, this is that, it would help.
Yeah.
So I'll say that. And then, yeah, I think that's just because if you already have something you can always use, just like I said, for me right now, it's like plug and play. I just come in and input it. So I'm not thinking in that sense about what to do. I just come in and I plug and play. Yeah. So
Thank you so much for that. We are drawing close to the end, but I just want to ask this question around AI and the future because we can't, in any conversation, you still have to find a way of bringing this into it. So AI is fast becoming part of how we work as an entrepreneur. What tasks do you believe can be effectively outsourced to AI?
as much as possible, anything that is repeated, anything that you constantly have to do, that you're like, it's the ROI is not so much, but you have to always do it. You can find a way to automate it with AI. That's what I would say. So, especially if it's something that the ROI is high and is maybe extremely critical, then yeah, maybe AI will not do everything. AI will do a portion. But anything that is, it's a repeatable process, it's something that if you say do X, Y, Z, it can be done. Do you understand? Without you having to do it, then utilize AI. So because I know that even with tech infusion, many times, sometimes we struggle, maybe not we, but an average business person who is not tech savvy might struggle. Can you still hear me?
Yes, yes. Please continue.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. Okay. You know, okay. The person might struggle with saying, oh, where do I infuse tech? I'm just going to say, start with what are those repeated, tasks that are like, okay, this could be automated. I don't have to sit down and do this. It will be a waste of my time and a waste of, what I could have been doing with that time. So yeah, I think that's the first thing. And then what can how can in maybe look at all your operations and ask yourself what areas of your operation can AI help make faster and simpler, right? And then just check. And then the final thing I would say is sometimes just check bigger companies. What are they using tech for? Bigger companies in your industry, whatever they're using tech for, you can find a way to also use tech for it or use AI for it. Yeah. So
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I think we're coming close. No, no, we are now at the end actually because of our time. So, personal growth segment. What's one thing you wish someone had told you before you began this journey? One. Then the last one would be one book or resource that has contributed most to your growth. Yes. And then maybe final advice to young entrepreneurs as well, in closing.
I don't have any advice, so I don't have any advice for anybody. Even me, I'm looking for advice. On a lighter note, you asked me like three questions. Now I'm
What's
trying to
one
even
thing you
remember the
wish
first one.
someone had told you before you began?
Oh, someone told me. To be honest, I don't think there's anything.
Mm.
Honestly, right? I think maybe what I would have said would be that you just need to be resilient. But even if they had told me, I would have thought it's cliche. Exactly. Because I would think it's cliche. I'm like, what do you mean? You think I don't know what I want to do? Yeah. So yeah,
But then you
yeah.
go out there,
But now
you see by
I'm
yourself.
like maybe I didn't really know.
Also,
So yes, there's that. For book, okay, book exactly right. You just said resource. I hope you can still
I
hear
said
me.
book
I
and
don't know
resource.
why right now. I don't even know what's okay. Book and resource. Shoe dog of your nights.
Yes.
Shoe dog.
Yes.
Then for resource. Then for resource. So I love biographies generally.
Mm.
Yeah. So even though I feel like I even need to read, as much biographies now as I used to before. But yeah, because I think there are two that I'm like I need to read and okay, three, I just even remember the third one. The third one I've been looking for where to buy it in Nigeria. I have not seen. That's an excuse, but yeah, that's why I have not gotten it yet. But yeah, so I love biographies because you just really I love to just see the mind of people and how they got on their journey. That's one. Then for resource, honestly, I sometimes I just randomly listen to podcasts. I can't
Mm-hmm.
start giving you a list, but I just randomly move from podcast to podcast. In some cases, there are Harvard Business Reviews. Of late, I have been reading a lot of case studies again because of the academic program I'm doing, and I feel like it is challenging me in more ways than I could even explain. So yeah, all of those case studies that analyzes businesses, analyzes a lot of organizations, failed, successful. Yeah, it just gives me a lot of, perspective. So, yep.
Awesome. Wow. Interesting. I like it. So, shoe dog biography, as in this morning, that was what I was saying, on that post that I said I sent out. I was telling people that stories, biographies, you don't know what they do for you, and you really do not. And all this kind of resource that you also talked about, this kind of podcast, listening to your story, you could relate that, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this kind of in quote struggle, in that sense, like what I'm passing through right now. People have gone it, and how were they able to, overcome it, or what step did they go through? And that's what things like biographies, books also will do for you.
Mm,
Podcasts, you are sharing case studies, you are learning from it. You won't know until you are there. You really want to execute, and you see that, I've changed though, but this kind of things, in short, in summary, you as an entrepreneur, you have to be committed to lifelong learning, like growth. And I was making a point on one of my recent LinkedIn posts around growth, that sometimes you are not tracking it, like you said, on money, you won't really know it's there. So we have to be intentional about it. After you finish listening to a podcast, a book you read, what are your action points? Then you will know that, okay, yeah, I was able to. Then you can track. Oh, I applied it. Did it work? Did it not work? But if you are just like going on autopilot, you really will not know anything. So to people listening, if you could share what have been, something you are taking home before we wrap up, if I'm able to read it, it will be a good one. And Teresa, thank you so much. This has been so rich. I was telling them, I was saying that it's a master class, and you didn't really disappoint. Because when we put all these things together now, we'll be able to see a lot of value, a lot of insight that people pay for, and then you are giving us free of charge. So thank you so much for sharing such
thank
depth,
you.
clarity, and so much passion as well. For me personally, I'm walking away with a lot that, as I said, me too, I will now go and actually apply and say, what am I executing from this thing? from what we've shared. And I'm sure everyone here to share the same mindset. To everyone watching, thank you for showing up, for learning, growing together. This is what Beyond Border is all about: amplifying voices, unlocking mindset, and helping you take your next big step and seeing that, yeah, someone has done it before. There is possibilities, you see. So the replay will be available right here on YouTube. So feel free to share it forward with your network. They will pick something, I'm so sure. And if you like to stay connected or even be part of future episode, as I said, follow us here, subscribe, and yeah, till next time, keep learning, keep building. Okay, yeah, Emmanuel was asking, is Shoe Dog a book? Yes, it's a book around Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. So you can catch it.
Okay.
Yes, whether soft copy or hard copy, you can get it. So it's a book. That's the title, Shoe Dog. It's a very good book. So please go and download it or buy it on Amazon or somewhere. So till next time, I don't know, before I close it, Teresa, do you have anything to tell the
No,
audience?
thank you. I've tried. Thank you. Let me be going.
Okay, thank you so much. Till next time, keep learning, keep building, and keep breaking